Welcome to the API expression meeting. It's the 13th of October, and we have something on our agenda. Antoine, do you want to talk about it?
I was hoping Jordan and Stefan could join the meeting, but Jordan is in another meeting, and so Stefan's probably not coming. I have a meeting later today with the two of them to discuss that.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, we merged the cup, and we still are not happy about some specific things, and we want to just discuss about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. If you guys want me to go into the details?
Was it about the annotation in the types to generate defaults, or?
Yes. And we don't know exactly what to do for the non-pointer fields because built-in types can differentiate between an unset field and a zero value field when it's not a pointer. And CRDs can, and they don't behave the same way. And from the Open API, we don't know if it's a non-pointer or not. So I think what Stefan wants is to generate an annotation from KubeBuilder when the type is a omit empty non-pointer, so that we can reset these values automatically, or unspecify these values. But I'll talk with Jordan and Stefan. I think Jordan thinks it's not super important, and we don't want to add a new annotation for so many fields if it doesn't matter that much. I don't have a strong opinion.
Okay. While I have it here from last meeting, we discussed how to continue with status wiping, and I started a document, and I'm still trying to figure out what I did over the last half year and what we decided was bad, and why we got stuck on those. I'm pulling it apart. I'm doing a document right now that I explained the problem again, and I'm pulling apart the, I think, 4 PRs by now to find the problems we had, put them in there, and then we can discuss them.
Awesome.
Then if nobody else has something to add, I'll continue to the work items. Yeah, I think everybody saw it. I created this document, and there's not much in it right now. Just a few things we discussed. I don't know if we should go over it now and add stuff we discussed, or if we should make a dedicated meeting for it. Whatever you prefer. Like how we just update it asynchronously. Everybody looks at it. I think you had some talks on the side about it.
I mean, yeah, I don't know exactly what is the timeline to get this ready. I'm sure we could all start by doing some of these asynchronously, and then maybe probably have a meeting to discuss about the items. But yeah, we should probably elaborate on these.
Yeah, I mean the most stuff currently is our day-to-day stuff that we have in the work items. Yeah, I wouldn't move that out of here. I think would only split stuff. Like we have those annotations here.
Yeah, I would stop that for now. I would just have everybody do a review of the cap and start to kind of fill it out.
Yeah,
I'll do a pass.
Good. So that's what we just talked about, right? Cap, and we're talking about it. The default associative keys are still blocked on the previous one then, I guess. Antoine, you're... You're muted, I guess. Maybe too much noise.
Yeah, sorry, I had a phone call to take. But yes, it's still blocked on the. Okay, so I'll make a status for the defaulting. So we have these discussions going with the CAP.
Mm-hmm.
I've started the implementation, so I have a PR out, which I'm going to add to this thing. I have a PR out to add the default marker or field in the OpenAPI if it's present in the built-in type. So that's good. So we can already populate the OpenAPI with the default. I have another PR that removes the null values when they have to be removed. It actually doesn't remove them, it defaults them when they have a default. And the PR is mostly ready. I need to add more tests, but it's mostly ready. I am currently looking at Jenny's PR to revive it and update it so that we can look at the default fields from the OpenAPI and use them when they're on an associative key. And what's left to do after that is merely the part where we actually use the default and generate the code to apply these defaults for built-in types. So we have mostly 4 steps, and I'm working on the 3rd step right now, and then we have the last step, which is the defaulting, which is probably also the most difficult step.
Okay, sounds good.
But we're making good progress on these 2 items.
Yeah. Yeah, I mentioned that. I'm pulling what I know apart. Tracking SubResources. Andrea, what happened?
Hey. Yes, I did some progress there. Right now, I'm gonna try to solve this with the default field manager and using the field manager of the main resource to try and change the manage field. But yeah, there might be other solution possible, like this is just one of them. So I'm happy to start a conversation there.
Thank you so much for doing that, Andrea. We need to look at how is the field manager wired and how is the sub-resource created so that we can wire the proper field manager in there. Because I don't think we'll ever need to use the scale manager because it's pointless. We don't actually operate on the scale objects. So I suspect what you need is the main resources manager at this point. So let's look at the wiring and see if we can create the sub-resource with the proper manager. I'll try and take a look, or ask maybe Julian if he has some time to take a look.
I think I kind of got a way to wire it up. So maybe in the next days, I'm gonna update my work in progress PR and so we can all have a look and see if it makes sense and then polish it.
Yeah, I think it's very useful that you post these code links and we can look at it and comment on these. I think it's working very well. And you don't have to make the change. If you suspect you want to make a specific change, feel free to just send a link and say, I'm planning to change that, or I think this is where we need to make the change. We can also comment on that, and I think it's super useful. Thank you.
Okay, cool. I'm going to update you all in the next days.
Cool.
Thank you.
That was the Daniel Fields was the backboarding we should do, right? Deletion doesn't work.
We don't have a fix for that.
Ah, okay. But we want to backboard it once we have it.
Yes.
Okay.
It'd be nice if we had something to backboard.
Okay. So is somebody working on it, and how important is it?
No, I don't think we have anybody working on this. It's medium complexity. It's not that easy. I tried to give a quick look, and it's not something you can do if you know nothing, or if you don't have some time to look at it. I don't think it's super hard, But yeah, it's somewhat involved.
Is it blocking? Is it something we need to do?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So instead of applying QCTL, we scheduled for 121. I don't know if you've been working on it, student here.
Let me. I'll schedule a meeting about that.
Okay. Feel free to invite me. API clients. Joe,
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, hey. So I've got a working prototype of the generated client in Kates, and I think what I wanted to do a couple other detailing on it, and then I think it's probably makes sense for me to go sync up with go to like a KubeBuilder or a controller runtime meeting and start to show it to people. I also think I should just take one of the small controllers and just code over to show that happening. So I'm going to keep working on that. You'll probably hear more from me. I was kind of heads down just getting it working initially. But I think I'll transition over and start making a little more noise. I actually need to start writing a cap at some point. We're obviously not going to do it for this cycle, but for the next cycle, I think I'd like to have a cap out. So it's moving along.
That's good. I suspect the small controller can be written by somebody else.
That's probably a good idea.
That almost sounds like something that is a good first task to do.
And it would help in testing if it's if other people can use it easily.
Yeah, I'm hopelessly biased now since I wrote the generator.
Always.
Yeah, I agree. I'll take a note about that.
Let's see if we find someone.
Have you shared a link about it already? I wouldn't mind
let me send. And what I've got now is just my own branch. Let me get that organized, and I'll send something out.
right.
I'll put it in Slack or in an email, or maybe both.
Cool. I think nothing is happening here right now, and it's not in scope. The topology documentation.
Yeah, we don't have any.
Yeah.
Anyone working on this? No one's working on this.
Okay. API service also nobody.
Yeah.
Oh, this was the one we wanted to still cherry pick, right?
Yes, and I think there is a PR somewhere for that. The cherry picks are going to be tricky, obviously, because we need to update lots of versions of SMD, maybe. But we're missing a PR here. I'm sure I've seen a PR from Joe about this.
Yeah, this is actually everything but the backport is done.
Did we merge the PR? Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we merged all the PRs. So yeah, I think.
A few things merged, yeah.
So this is actually going to be in use in the next release.
Yeah,
there was another issue that was open trying to make some kind of change that could have picked this up. So I made sure that they knew that this was available now.
Yeah.
But that's kind of on their, I'm going to kind of let them on their own at this point. They weren't very responsive to stuff on their PR. So if they drop their PR, then it doesn't matter.
Cool. Yeah, we need to cherry pick these.
Yeah, let me nudge that back to the top of my to-do list right now. I think I have 2 cherry picks I need to do, so I'll do them at the same time.
Ooh.
Okay, no change applies, still persists. We discussed that on Slack a little.
We have another one.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's the one, which makes absolutely 0 sense. I tried to reproduce this one, and it makes 0 sense. It's also running against a 117 cluster, so I don't know if it's a bug we already fixed or not.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Look, and we talked a bit on Slack.
Yeah. This one makes 0 sense because nothing is absolutely nothing is changing.
Yeah, so the resource version we can't be changing because managed fields do not, for at least for CRs, do not make the resource version change. So timestamp is not our fault. Jordan mentioned it could be a sub-resource that's changing, but
No, I mean
define a sub-resource.
I reproduced the exact same example, and literally it believes that a specific number is changing all the time, even though it's exactly the same. And if you reapply later, it's like, oh, you've changed this number, even if you haven't. And I don't know why.
But you did test it with your fix to do the timestamp later?
No, but my fix is different. My fix is that, I mean, possibly it would fix that, but it's kind of odd. But my fix would change if you have a quantity, for example, which is canonicalized in a different form. So the 600 would become 600M or something.
Mhm.
And it would become a string because of the quantity becoming a string when it's canonicalized. And here it doesn't even do that. The number stays a number. And when you get the resource from the API server, you have the exact same thing. Nothing is changing, yet we detect a change every single time.
Yeah. I looked at the code. Also, Jordan shared a few links on where the resource version and the generation get increased for custom resources, and
yeah, so
there's nothing that could trigger that.
And the generation is supposed to change when the spec has changed, right?
Yes, exactly. Resource, yeah, generation.
And we're not even changing the spec, we're changing the metadata managed field. So the generation is not changing because of us.
Yeah, the generation increases for custom resource if anything but metadata changes, and that gets like, and status if it's defined as a sub resource and not just as a field named status, it also shouldn't trigger a generation increment. So
something is changing somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm actually compiling a more recent version of Kubernetes right now, so I can try it out.
Yeah, I'm also very interested. I'll dig it into it if I have time. I'm still on holiday technically, so I have a bit of time. But yeah, that's I looked at it. I read through it. It's really weird. And do we know if it's related to the time thing, or should that be fixed and it's just a version thing?
We don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Quantity fails type checking. Isn't there something much? Yeah, I approved that, but nobody else did. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Sully.
Is this strictly true? According to the code of so like this came up in controller runtime, or in controller tools rather, and it was pointed out that quantity is not in fact an interstring. Quantity is an interstringer float. Like code for parsing quantity accepts float as well, and then normalizes the float before it gets parsed, which is the only way that it can be valid asterisk.
Yeah, the problem is that right now it doesn't even accept ints.
Yeah, I mean that's like that's fine. This is not. This is insufficient. Like this rejects things that are currently accepted, or at least that's what was pointed out to us in controller tools. And according to my interpretation of the code, it seems like that's the case.
Yeah, but I mean, wait, this is not really changing anything, is it? Like, if you send anything in the quantity, it's still going to work.
No, if you currently have this is gonna block on client-side validation, isn't it?
We could try. I think we should probably add a test.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah, not that I wouldn't rather improve this, and I think this is potentially a good step in the right direction. But like either we need to make a decision on the floatness of quantity, or like figure out a way, maybe like add a new type to structural schema that's into our string or float, or make quantity a valid format option in and of itself or something.
Yeah. So this is just changing the format and not the type. What is the actual type for this? Do we know? Do we remember? Oh, it says string. Yeah. I don't even know how the clients would validate that, to be honest, but I'm assuming they can skip these somehow.
Yeah, I think that's worth looking into. What they do currently.
Yes, I can. And by clients, you mean kubectl, for example.
Yeah, anything that does client-side validation.
Because I wrote the client-side validation for kubectl, and I've done my own source. I mean, I interpreted the standard the way I wanted at this point, and in very wrong ways. And so there are two things, right? There are clients that actually look at the OpenAPI and use the right validation, and there is kubectl who does its own thing. This is going to break no matter what for proper clients. Yeah, let's look at it. That there's more to be done. I agree.
Right.
Thanks, Sully. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, the only reason I know is because we tried to do basically the same thing in controller tools, and someone showed up and was like, actually.
But I suspect this change specifically is only making things better, not worse.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe what we should be doing is at the very least, even if it's a step forward, is like put a comment in the description about what we know for posterity, so if somebody else looks it up, and then make sure.
That's a good point. And probably open a bug to track that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and we have our backlog where I think nothing is happening. I don't know if Andrea continued on the backward incompatible namespace webhook.
Yeah, that's done and merged. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Where is done? There we go. Yeah, we still have help needed there. Tombstoning, Joe, anything new on that? I think we delayed it.
No, this one, I would just put a marker here that we've shelved this until
Yeah, okay.
post GA. When I update the GA cap, I'll make sure that we note this properly, so that if anybody asks, that we have a clear explanation of what we're doing.
Yeah. Okay, let's not go through the entire backlog. I think.
Yeah, no, I think we're good up here. We have enough to do. All right.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you.